We would like to welcome you to using Nepris for career exploration and connecting with industry. We are all K-12 career readiness consultants with Oakland Schools, and we're excited that you are beginning your exploration of the Nepris platform with us today. We are confident that you will find the resources that Nepris offers to be both beneficial to you and your students. Before we dive into the Nepris platform, we first would like to provide you with a brief overview of how students can grow to be career ready. This next slide shows a graphic that illustrates a focus on developing student awareness of career readiness at the elementary level by introducing students to the world of work. We may also begin to help students develop a sense of self in terms of their own interests and aptitudes. As students progress to middle school, they begin to further their awareness while having additional opportunities for career exploration. This exploration helps students to further define what they are most interested in and learn about careers that align with those interests. With an idea of potential careers they are interested in, students move to high school, selecting classes that provide further exploration and ultimately preparation for their career pathway. Students make connections between core content area curriculum and their career interests. This preparation throughout high school leads students to determine a career pathway beyond high school that may include an apprenticeship, the military, or further coursework at a college or university. I would now like to turn it over to Patty Adolphs to introduce you to the purpose and components of Nepris.
As Andy said, I'm Patty Adolphs, and I have the opportunity to just do a quick introduction of Nepris to you. You can find Nepris at nepris.com, and later in the presentation, you'll have the opportunity to learn how to go in and check it out. Nepris connects educators and learners with a network of industry professionals, virtually bringing real-world relevance and career exposure to all students. And Nepris does this in various ways. One of those things is career exploration. You have the opportunity to do this in a variety of ways. One of the tools that you will learn about today, and Vlad will show that to you, is Career Explorer. Career Explorer allows you to research and compare careers and look at various things that you would need for those careers, such as education or skills, salaries. And you have the opportunity to be able to save those careers. And if you want to go back and look at any of the careers that you've saved, you can go to My Favorite Careers. Again, Vlad will show you that. There's also a video library, which our consultant, Cynthia Sherporn, she will show that to you. The video library has a large database of recorded industry chats from a variety of different careers. Large numbers, you'll get to see some of those numbers. And within the video library, you have the ability to search and filter or narrow it down to very specific searches that you have. There's also daily live video or industry chats that you have the opportunity for a class to join in, listen live, have the opportunity to ask questions, and you can also set up your own specific teacher requested industry sessions. Ben and Jen, two Oakland Schools consultants, will also go through and give you great details on this, but you can get very specific for anything you're looking for within your classroom, whether you're working on a project and maybe you want them to mentor as you introduce the project or review some of those different things. And if there's specific standards you want to cover, you can connect it to your classroom curriculum. It's a great opportunity to be able to make what you're learning in your classroom and connecting it, making that relevance apparent to the students for their future. Ben and Jen will also highlight the career fairs. It's a great opportunity to highlight many different careers in a fun virtual career fair environment, and provides a lot of different opportunities. And they can also go through and do interviews. The opportunities really are endless. So dream big, and you'll have the chance to see how easy it is to find different things that you could bring into the classroom as long as you plan ahead. So next, Vlad will talk to you about our Career Explorer.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Vlad Lebedincev, and I'm going to share with you a little bit more about the Career Explorer. It's actually one of my favorite features in Nepris. So to access the Career Explorer, this is the Nepris homepage here after you log in. You're going to move your mouse over to the Career Explorer, and there are two drop-down options available. There's Career Explorer and My Favorite Careers. We're going to go ahead and hover over Career Explorer and go ahead and click on that. Okay, once you click on that, a new page will show up, and you will have a search bar at the very top. And you're able to search by typing in any kind of keyword to really look at the particular career that you're interested in looking at. So for example, I'm actually going to type in a specific industry, and I'm going to type in manufacturing, if I can spell it correctly, manufacturing. I'm going to hit the enter key. And here I will see various options that show up with various manufacturing careers. So I'm going to go ahead and choose one. I'm going to go ahead and choose electrical engineer. And once I click on that, I have various information about electrical engineers. First, I can see all the alternative titles that are related to electrical engineering, what they specifically do, the various skills that they need, what are their tasks on a daily basis, the specific personality that they may need to have if you're planning to work in this particular field, work style, and then also where they work. One of my favorite features about this specifically is you can actually see all the videos featuring this career of previous Nepris videos that were recorded in the past. So you can go ahead and click on either one of these and actually scroll through to see if there are more available, which there are. And you can actually watch a video specifically related to this career. At the top right, you can see, if you scroll back up, you can see a particular outlook for the job. So if it's a bright outlook, seeing if their career is actually growing rapidly in the next few years, you can see the median yearly salary and the 90th percentile salary, as well as their required education. So in this case, a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. And finally, all this information, it's not just made up, it's actually coming from the ONET, from the U.S. Department of Labor of Employment, Training and Administration. So this is real research information. Once you figure out a career that you actually like, you can compare it to another career that you may be interested in looking at. So you're going to go ahead and scroll up, click on Add to Compare. That's going to take me back to my home page where I can see this career that shows up here. So to add another career to compare it to, I'm going to go ahead and click on the plus sign right here. And I can search careers in this particular same industry, or I can search for something else. So let's just quickly go ahead and look at nursing. And I'm going to click on registered nurse and click add to compare. And this way, it will add it right away, right to my home page, where I can see and compare both careers. So electrical engineers as well as registered nurses. And I can look at right on my home page to see where they're at. Okay. Next, Cynthia will share more about the video library feature.
Welcome. I'm Cynthia Sherporn, and I'm one of the 6 K-12 career readiness consultants with Oakland Schools. And we're glad that you're here with us today and that you have an interest in Nepris and learning about what is available for you and your students. I'm going to be sharing Browse the Library. So I wanted to mention to you, when you have your account, this is considered your dashboard, and you are able to get to many different opportunities from the dashboard. On this, you will be able to see that you can access directly to Browse the Library. I have actually selected middle school. So the video playlists that are right below here are going to be geared towards middle school. And you can grab virtual tour playlists, and that can be a very big help to you when you are looking very quickly for a specific grade. You can also always find your video library on the left-hand side of this page as well, which is very helpful. So let's go to the library. So in the Nepris video library, you have access to many videos that have already been recorded by industry partners. as you can see, this is showing just 50 of 12,391 of the videos. And there's many more in there. This just happens to be selected based on the middle school age. When you want to learn more, there is this little video. It's a quick video as you enter that will give you some helpful tips on the video library. If 12,391 videos is way too much to have to explore, there's an easy way for you to shorten that. So let's just say that we are looking at information technology. And so I'm going to select information technology as one of my opportunities, and I'm going to select a grade level. So you can choose by the cluster, by the grade level, and by two other options, video format and the session source. But let's get our middle school selected. And now you can see we're going to be down to 329 videos. So looking at 329 videos versus 12,000 is really helpful when you are seeking out what you want to share with the students. As you also can see in the video library with the clusters, you will have access to choosing videos that are in the areas that Oakland County supports. So we look at the 5 industry clusters of advanced manufacturing, construction, health, IT, and transportation. And in those areas, you will find videos in the Nepris library that attend to those career areas if you are looking to assist the students in seeking out careers in different pathways. When you are looking down at the session source, you have industry tabs and teacher requested. When you are looking directly for what did a teacher already think to look at, we can now look at the 173 that teachers requested. So this helps you to continue to manage the number of videos that you're looking at, and you can see the information that is available. There's an additional piece I'd like to point out. You can see this little eye. This little eye shares with you how many people have viewed the video. And it does not mean that 2 people viewing or 14 people viewing or 42 people viewing like this, that there is a better video or a lesser video. It just means for the 2, it might have been a classroom and 2 teachers had a full classroom and those students were not listed in that viewing. But the viewing, when you have a larger number, it does mean that people have gravitated towards that video. And so that gives you a good idea for making selections. I'm going to select this video game design just rather quickly to just share with you. You can get quick information. So you can see the key questions that were shared, the outcomes of the session, and the description. And if I just select to begin, which I will pause, I want you to see that this video is 44 minutes. So each video has a time when you are doing your viewing to try to move through the system. And if you have a shorter period of time you want students to be utilizing, you can find videos that are 20 minutes long, 30 minutes long, sometimes an hour long. So that is very helpful for you as well. As we have looked at this and we've searched how to kind of really narrow our search, I do want to share with you an additional piece. When you're in the system under session, right next to the dashboard, you can actually create playlists. So if you are looking and you're working with middle school students or high school students or elementary, you can create playlists. And I'm going to just very quickly show you my playlist, because playlists do not have to have a login. So if you're sharing these with students, the playlist can be shared and students can view it. And within the playlist that were created here, I'm going to share with you real quick that it followed the 5 areas of our industries. And this one, the theme parks were very interesting for students because what child does not like a theme park? But this one here was on manufacturing, and it was about Taylor guitars. So very interesting videos to capture a student's interest, but also to engage the learners, because we know that student engagement is really where the students will learn the best if they're engaged in what they are doing. And so I hope that as you have the opportunity to get into Nepris and explore the video library, that you will enjoy these opportunities. And if there's things that you missed in what I've shared, don't forget that you can always go back to the dashboard. And when you go back to the dashboard, you can go to browse the video library, and you can review what's in the video library and what it's about with the quick little video. Thank you for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the journey.
Thank you, Cynthia. So we've seen a quick overview of the Career Explorer tool. We've also taken a look at the video library. And next, we're going to hear from Ben about requesting a live industry session.
Hello, everybody. Hello, instructors. Welcome to our Nepris overview. Again, it was awesome to learn about the Career Explorer that you can use in your instruction with students. It was also wonderful to see that Nepris does have a career video library of past videos that were either requested or live industry sessions that were put on by Nepris. But in your work with students, you may be thinking, man, I really want something customized. I want to get an industry partner to come in and interact with my classroom on a project that we're working on. I want some feedback on it. Maybe I want to connect the content of what we're learning with real actual industry. So the content that we're learning in the classroom has a connection to something in business or industry. So we put this little graphic on here. Hello, I am a real person, because this is the power, I think, of Nepris, is the ability to request a live industry session with somebody from industry, where they are going to interact with you on a virtual platform and be able to have that live feel, maybe even provide a tour of their business or industry. So we're going to talk about how to request an industry session.
So before Ben shares his screen and navigates us through that process, we'll give you a couple of things to think about. So step one, think about your logistics. So just much in the way you would think about these items as you would if a live industry representative was coming into your classroom in a face-to-face environment, think about those same things, right? What's the date you're going to need this industry representative in your classroom? Is it just a one-hour session kind of thing, or are you going to be planning for multiple industry representatives to join you in your classroom throughout one day or over the span of a week? How long do you want your sessions to be? You heard Cynthia mention that some sessions an hour. We've already worked with Nepris and some classroom environments in which we said, you know what, we just want these videos to be about 25 minutes long when we engage with the industry professional. So in these customized sessions, you can request the amount of time that you want the industry professional to spend with your students. Think about who's going to be attending as well. So is it your classroom of just 30 students or so, or is this a large school-wide event in which maybe an entire middle school of 350 students might be attending. Because in that case, when there's a large group, you're going to want to say to Nepris as you plan that you'd like to use the Zoom webinar so that cameras are turned off, students are automatically muted, some of those details. And then also make sure you're identifying which staff member in your school is going to be co-facilitating that session with the Nepris representative. So essentially there's one teacher who makes the session requests, and all the communication through the Nepris platform will flow through that teacher and his or her email. And then at the beginning of each Nepris session, not only does your industry guest join you, but a representative from Nepris joins you as well. And Ben will talk a little bit more about that in a few moments. So the next step is to actually request a session. You're going to want to do this 2 to 4 weeks prior to the event date. Sometimes it can be a very quick turnaround if you're planning kind of late and you're like, oh, I really need someone in 1 week. Sometimes that happens, but of course, the more time you give Nepris behind the scenes to arrange for an industry guest, the better. So I will let Ben navigate on our Nepris dashboard through the process of requesting a session.
Sure, thanks, Jen. So I'm going to bring up my screen here. And just like Vlad had showed you the Career Explorer and Cynthia had showed you on your dashboard, to browse the video library, once you log into Nepris, there's not that many places you can go, which is actually a nice feature because everything really is contained in the dashboard. So if you look at sessions here, you can view upcoming industry chats. So sessions that are already put together by Nepris that may be of interest to you, that you could log in and view with your class. You can browse different templates that have already been created by other educators and then change those templates to customize them to something that's more aligned to what you're trying to interact with the industry member on. And then you can create a session request. So you can put in your own session request for a connection to curriculum, or again, maybe you're working on something that's project-based, the student interest assignment, and you want to have that student connect with industry and get some feedback and get some direction of where to go or to ask some questions from an industry member. So you really can customize your session any way that you see fit. I'm going to go to my sessions. So back in February, Jen and I actually hosted a mini IT career fair. And so we had 4 different sessions that students could jump into on 4 different themes in the information technology area: game design, automotive or autonomous vehicles, big data, etc. So if I look at my sessions that I've created, and again, when you create sessions, it'll save it now. I don't have any confirmed sessions right now. They've all been completed. I don't have any requested sessions right now because they've all been completed, or any that are pending. Pending happens when you've put in a session request and you're waiting for confirmation from Nepris that you have an industry representative for that session. And I don't have any that I've drafted either that I'm planning on and going into. But in my completed area, you'll see that I have the 4 sessions that we used for our mini career fair. And we were able to title them what we wanted to. So we had session 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's session 1. It was focused on augmented reality, virtual reality as well. Session 2 was on artificial intelligence and big data. Session 3 was game design, and session 4 was on autonomous vehicles. And if I go into the details, I can find out more about that specific session, but I can also go in and see actually what I had to do to submit that session topic. So the session type, is it a presentation? This is perfect, I think, for some of the work that you may be doing in your instruction. Is it project mentoring? Do you want an industry partner to come in and connect with your classroom and provide some mentoring opportunity, or maybe evaluate a project that your students have developed? Some type of classroom collaboration. Maybe you're teaching a standard and then you want an industry partner to come in and say, this is how we actually use that standard in industry. So your students have an instant connection. You're going to go down and you can actually pick a class that you're working with. We just had a general career connections. Put in the grade level. You can, what is your class studying? So the more information, the better in your session request, to give the presenter that's going to accept the industry request as much information as possible, so that they're, I guess, on both sides, they're the best resource for you and what you need. So what do you want your students to learn? We put in some questions that we wanted our industry expert to answer. We didn't choose for this, it was more of a general overview, but you could put in a specific curriculum standard that you wanted to have the industry member address. And this is really the connection that Nepris can make, is aligning standards to industry content. And then industry preference. So for this one, we wanted something related to drones and something related, connected to autonomous vehicles. And then any specific skills we actually put in as well. We didn't have any documents, but if you had some documents that you wanted the industry member to look at and connect with prior, there's an area to put those in. Maybe you have a kind of a creation plan of something that you're working on that could be helpful for the industry to view. And then we were talking about the date that this event would be. We did half-hour sessions, 4 half-hour sessions. So we started every 40 minutes. So we had some time in between, and just some additional notes that we said this is going to be a large presentation format. So we wanted it in the webinar format. They actually use the Zoom platform. So if I go to my favorite templates, and that's again when I'm in my session icon here, I can go to my favorite templates. I chose to save one of my sessions, and I can now create a copy of this under actions, and I can utilize it for another session request. So I don't have to start from scratch, or I can find session templates already. If I go here, click out of here. If I go back under session, I can go to browse request templates, and I can start to look. I can search for sessions by topic and I can start to see the details of different sessions that have been requested around the nation, really, in a specific area. And maybe I want to make a copy of that template and actually get in there and not have to start from scratch, but get some ideas, get some pre-learning from other folks that have actually created a session request. So lots of customization that you can do when requesting a session. So I'm going to pass it back over to Jen to get back into our slides and continue on the process for requesting a session.
Thank you, Ben. So the next thing that happens a few days or a week or two after you make that custom session request is on your dashboard in the Nepris platform, you will get a session confirmation. So Ben did click into the area in which you would you can view those session confirmations, but it does appear on your dashboard as well. So now what? You've requested the live session, you get a session confirmation, and then you'll be able to view additional information about the industry professional for your session. So that's very useful because you can begin to see details of who is going to be presented, and this allows for you to have the opportunity with your class and your students to maybe do some research about that career a little bit more specifically, about that company, and then develop a list of questions that you and your students wish to ask the industry professional as part of your session. So we really advise that you do that work with your students prior to the session. As you can see, we had some really cool companies join us for the IT career fair that Ben was referring to. So we had Spotify join us, we had Verizon, we had Tubarilla. So the nice thing about it is there were a couple of companies that students were familiar with, right? So like, cool, I know this company and I get to learn a little bit more about it. And then there were a couple of other companies that they had probably never ever heard of. And they were coming to us from somewhere else in the United States. In one case, we had a industry professional who actually was presenting to us from Sweden. She was involved in game design, and that was really cool too. So the next thing that happens is once your sessions have been confirmed, you will get an email from a Nepris representative to make sure that you are prepared for that session day. So you set up a very brief meeting time with the Nepris individual. It takes about 15 minutes, and it's really kind of just a tech check. So it makes sure that your Zoom is set up appropriately. It makes sure that you have the opportunity to ask any questions, particularly if this is your very first time within Nepris utilizing the system. And like I said, just make sure that you are ready to roll on that day. They usually schedule the meeting for about 30 minutes, but it takes typically closer to 15. But it's just a nice like check and reassurance that everyone is all set for the day. So I'm going to turn it back to Ben for a moment, just to speak a little bit about day of the event and hosting a session.
So on the day that you're going to host the session, the nice thing about it, you will receive a few emails throughout, especially when a session is confirmed. You'll get an email saying, hey, this session has now been confirmed. Here's your presenter information. So that happens obviously before the actual day of the session. So you can connect with the industry member if needed prior. But the nice thing about it is on the day of your session or sessions, right on the dashboard, right on your homepage in Nepris, you are going to see all the sessions that you have for that day. So you don't, if you're like me, on the day of something, you're scrambling and searching for an email. How do I log in? Where do I go? It's all right on your dashboard. So it makes it easy. You just have to remember what day your session is on. And then you have the ability to have this look right on your dashboard, and you'll be able to jump in. You can see in green there you can join the live session. So once you click on that, it logs you right into your live session. At first, it's usually you, a Nepris representative, and the industry member. And in most cases, when you're live in front of students, obviously you'll be broadcasting this to your classroom. And so it won't be an issue of setting things up with students. However, as we know from this past year, if you do need to have students log on virtually, you can always provide a code to your students that allows them to get into that session. So you'll have just a couple of minutes prior to the session officially starting to connect with the Nepris representative and kind of talk about logistics in terms of, for us, it was, hey, we don't mind at the end running the question and answer and monitoring the Q&A feature in Zoom. So the Nepris person, I was very acknowledging to allow us to really host the session how we saw fit, how it was best for our delivery. So that's what you'll see on the day of in regards to hosting a session right on your dashboard, right in the Nepris platform.
So now we're going to tell you just a few things, what we learned from our first experience with Nepris. So like we mentioned before, it's really great to have some Q&A prepared with your students and for them to know a little bit about the company that the industry professional is from, so they have some knowledge going into the session and can really benefit from what the industry professional is going to share. We also found that the industry professionals really have very, very different presentation styles, right? Just like any of you and any of us today. So for example, some professionals had a slideshow that they were speaking to, others just had a virtual background and kind of had almost more of a casual discussion interaction with the students. So even though the industry professionals go through a little bit of a coaching session with Nepris before they do their sessions, the style of the presentation varies greatly, and it was really, at the end of the day, it was really nice to see those various presentation styles. What else do you have, Ben?
Yeah, for this, we this picture really connected with us because we have the pizza, right? We have the pizza is the industry request, the industry session, but then you see there's 8 different styles of pizza. And I think what we learned is really to include, there was that area on the session request to include a document. And it could be a real benefit to actually kind of map out by time, almost an agenda for the presenter, just to have we hope that you're able to present for this long, and then we'll ask questions potentially for this long, or we'll have you give some critique for this amount of time. Because we were glad that we had some questions prepared, and they were all a half hour for us. But in one of our presentations, the speaker only spoke for about 15 minutes. And we had to really fill that additional 15 minutes of time. So we were prepared with questions, but I guess if we didn't have that, we were just, our assumption going after this for the first time was that the speaker would take maybe 25 minutes of time and leave 5 minutes at the end. So the more detail that you can give to your or in your industry request is going to be a benefit, I think, to you and how you utilize that industry partner for your session with your students.
Yeah, and one last tip, because this came about just this week, a teacher had created a custom session request and they weren't seeing their session confirmation appearing in their Nepris Dashboard. And rather than addressing that with the Nepris help, the little chat box, or connecting with the Nepris representative to get that resolved, they just kind of let it play out to see what happened. And unfortunately, an industry professional did not show up. So that does not happen regularly at all, but you do want to make sure that you're keeping tabs that those session requests are in fact being confirmed prior to your date for the event, so that you can resolve that and get it taken care of and all set up for your event date.
So if, right now, you could log in and create a free Nepris account at nepris.com. You may have an official account already from this past school year, and maybe pretty familiar with the Nepris platform, maybe even utilized it in your work this past school year. However, create a free account now just to kind of navigate, and you can connect with any one of us, the career readiness consultants. On this call, we'll put up our contact information on the next slide, and we can set you up with an official Nepris Platinum Access account. That sounds very official, Platinum Access, but that will give you the full access to Nepris. Beyond the video library and beyond the Career Explorer, it will allow you to then request those live industry chats as well. So we have up here our contact information, and I will turn it over to Jen for our final closing.
Great, thank you, Ben. So once again, thank you everyone for joining us today. We hoped we provided you some helpful information about how you can use Nepris with your students in your classroom. And please feel free to reach out to any one of us. All of our emails are provided here, and we look forward to supporting you with your Nepris experience. Have a great day.